Audiolab introduces two new DACs, one for their 9000 series and one for their 7000 series, and Cambridge Audio introduces a 7-band EQ to their Stream Magic app. What's up, Tom? How are you today? We're going to have some fun talking about your favorite subject, DACs.
I know.
The DAC master.
Well,
right?
I don't know about that, but I do a lot of digital audio for sure. Yeah.
And some of the Audiolabs, probably some of the only Audiolab 9000 series that you don't have in your system behind you. So this is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I did get to see this. You didn't get to see it at Expona in person because you were stuck in the room, but I got to go down to the Audiolab. You might have saw it. I got to go down to the Audiolab room and actually see and listen to the D9.
Oh, really? Dude,
in person.
See anything.
I know. It was just because I was hanging out in there before the show opened, but I got to see it in person, a little smaller box than the rest of the series. But so there are two new DACs. There's the D9, which matches the 9000 series, and then there's the D7, which matches the 7000 series. And these are kind of the update or the upgraded versions of the long-standing MDAC, the one that won all kind of awards. Mm-hmm. They've made really good DACs in their network streamer, and they're integrated. I don't know if the integrated has an app, but like the 9000 series has really good sounds. That's probably why it's in your system behind you. 7000 series the same way. But now they're like, hey, let's do a freestanding DAC, and it's out. It's coming. I don't know if it's shipping yet, but it's been announced. So it's really exciting. Mm-hmm. And again, see it in person. It is a little smaller than the rest of the 9000 and 7000 series. It's not like a 17.5-inch wide unit. It's probably half size, just like the MDAC was. But it's got a lot of cool features. And I love the fact that they put the screen on the D9. So let's start with the D9. And then we'll go into the D7 because the D9 is definitely the flagship of their DAC series. I think it comes in at $14.99, if I'm not mistaken. Their website doesn't have a price yet, but I did enough research online that I think I got the price. And look, if you're looking to upgrade your hi-fi system, All Elite Audio can help. That is me and Tom's company, along with Spencer, who's not on this week's episode. But we would love to help you upgrade your hi-fi system, build a new hi-fi system, and help you in your hi-fi journey through time of just getting the best sound possible. We would love to build a hi-fi system for you, so you can go to alleliteaudio.com, check out our website, call, text us. Me and Tom and Spencer will help you build your next hi-fi system. I love it.
That's right.
You have good conversation with people that call, right?
Dude, my calls average like 40 minutes, all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just you know, especially recently, everybody's just been great. We really got a good vibe going on, helping people out.
You're building a lot of systems.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost getting to the point where it's like, man. But no, it's been great. You know, really good groove. And like I said, everyone that calls and all the customers, they've just been really nice and got a lot of good relationships going on.
That's amazing. Yeah. So let's talk about DACs.
Yes,
because you're the expert here. I am not the expert at DACs.
Well, I don't know.
So
DAC
CDs, when you're calling for a DAC question, it's not me.
Yeah, I can help out a little more with that for sure.
So I do like that the D9 has the screen to match the 9000 series.
It does. It looks very nice. They did a good job. I mean, it's basically what they've been doing, but you know, just keep that in the DAC form. I mean, it's a nice looking DAC.
All right, let's start with the DAC. Tom, what kind of DAC's in it?
It is the ESS Sabre 32 ES 9038 Pro. I mean, that's the chip that's in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the chip. It's a lot of words and numbers for me.
Yeah, it's 32-bit. You know, as opposed to, I guess that right. It's, you know, opposed to like your 16. It can go up to like 32, which. But you know, I do have a question. Someone might be able to actually explain that to me better, because there is like your bit depth for, you know, your digital music, but then there's also like a processing side of that, which I'm not as much of a tech guy, so maybe someone can correct me there. But the main thing is the chip they're using. It's a 9038 Pro. I mean, those all kind of vary just in terms of performance and noise floor, and that's really up there in terms of state of the art.
And it's kind of like the flagship.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have like the 39s now, you know, but to be honest, man, like That number isn't the biggest thing for me. You really do have to listen to it because it is the way that they power it and implement it and the quality of the engineering.
So you
That's
can't
the
just
big
look
thing.
at the chip that's in it.
Yeah, you can have like a DAC that has a 9039 Pro, whatever, and it doesn't sound good.
Because and I know this with like Hi-Fi Rose, like they build everything to make the DAC chip sound the way that they
That's
want.
what's important. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's everything else kind of going into it that is the most important thing, and something that Audiolab does really well.
Do very well. Yeah. I mean, whether it's the analog stage, the digital stage, just the accuracy and just the musicality, just have engineering it to translate the musicality. That's like their thing.
So I'm going to read some of the specs, okay?
Okay.
And you're going to tell me what this means.
Okay.
All right. So this does up to DSD 512.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes that is you don't get that DSD resolution all the way up there. I mean, it just supports higher, like Super Audio is like DSD 128, and you can play DSD files that could be way higher resolution than that. I mean, they can like the millions of hertz for DSD.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's like insane. But most people aren't like playing files at that format. But if you had like an upsampler or you're using Rune, maybe you got like a streaming transport, you can play with that upscaling and get all the way up to that number. DSD kind of has a different sound to it. Very high resolution.
How so?
I mean, people might disagree, but in my experience, it has a little bit more weight to it.
Okay.
I always think because I've only played with DSD with upscalers, and whether it's built into Rune or I've used HQ Player, and I get a little bit more, maybe a little less in terms of like performance, in terms of like just separation and soundstage, but it's a little bit fuller, like analogy. Truthfully, okay. I'm very happy with PCM 44.1K. I just think that's very natural and it covers all the bases of human hearing. But people like to play around and enhance that and kind of mess around with that. It's the thing that sometimes you get something and it's just like DSD 258, or it's like that PCM over DSD kind of like conversion thing, and it's a little disappointing. But this is native, right? I guess this is full on native DSD. Is that what you're saying? I'm looking at the specs here, but I don't actually.
Yeah, and then optical and digital, you got up to 192.
Yeah, and that's standard for that connection.
Now, so the other thing it can do, it can upsample digital audio signals up to 384.
Yeah, I mean, there's 44.1, 48, and 96, and it goes on and on up to 384, and there's like a 700. I don't know all the exact numbers, but it'll go, yeah. And actually having that upsampling built in is very cool. They do that in like the 9000 A's and all that stuff. So
you have the whole 9000 series. You have the 9000 N. So talk about how this sounds. Like, how does the chip profile or the way they design this sound? Because I'm assuming that this is the same chip that's in the 9000N.
Well, yeah, I have more experience with it, and I have a 9000N in my rack, so like I can definitely speak to it. But I've previously listened to the 9000A a bunch, where it's like the internal just digital input stage. It's not a full separate DAC or a DAC streamer, and the 9000N DAC is very good, but I was really blown away, really getting to use the 9000. I feel like I mixed it up. The 9000A internal DAC is really good. My CD transport is hooked up to it right now, but the DAC and the 9000N for the streaming, I mean, it's like they definitely do have some tricks up their sleeve. I mean, it's just super, super accurate, but very just tame and smooth, because that's kind of the concern with all the Sabres is like, yes, you do have all this performance and all this, it's analytical, but that's not a bad thing, with HiFi. I mean, you're spending all this money on a system, and you're picking things out over there and over here, and you just have this incredibly high level of performance. If you can just smooth out that high end, so it's not fatiguing, that's a really good place to be as a DAC. And the 9000N does that very well. And when I do the whole Roon Ready and compare that to the CD Transport, I mean, they get ridiculously close in quality. And that's even, streaming something on Roon as opposed to using FLAC files. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you see a big difference when you use the FLAC files?
I have to like really close my eyes, and I just, I feel that transient a little bit more when it's physical, like in the drums, like Danny Carey, he hits like, all his drums are like melted down cymbals in some of these recordings, and it's like a really kind of aggressive drum sound. And I'll just get a little bit more of that if it's physical.
So it also has HyperStream 2 architecture and time domain jitter eliminator.
That's a Sabre thing. That's, that like a really high quality, like Sabre came out with that technology for their chips, and it just helps them perform extremely well. I mean, that's really a lot of the thing. A big part of the quality of a DAC is the bits and the timing, whether it's jitters, and then you have like the phasing of the bits, like filtering them out so that they're not out of phase at the really high frequencies. That all stuff is all that stuff is really, really important, and they do that really well. And they have that what is it called?
HyperStream.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the back of it. My mind has gone to see what kind. I was actually, when I saw jitter eliminator, I started looking to see if there was a clock. Because I tend to I've started to use clocks.
Yeah.
Right. And I find like we've been using the Silent Angel clocks.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole line of products is really, we'll do something on those one day, but there's a lot of things in the Silent Angel that actually will help the audio labs and help everything just even sound better, especially when you're streaming, getting things just to bring in a better signal and eliminate any kind of jitter is a major thing.
Mm-hmm. Even if you don't hear everything sounds great, it can maybe get a little more cleaned up and sound a little bit better.
Right. And so looking at the back of this, that's not on there. There's the USB, there's the coaxials, and there is
digital outs too, which is big. I like the digital ins and outs.
I just saw that they do have an output,
which you wouldn't think you really need that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I've worked in like demo rooms and stuff, and having that rather than swapping everything out, having it all like connected in like a chain makes it really easy. But if you have like multiple, maybe, because I like to swap things out all the time. Maybe you have it all just set up at once, and you can just switch around. You have a separate DAC.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Any kind of, other connections. And this also has balanced outputs and a balanced input, which explain that to me.
Dang it. I was hoping this wasn't. It is, like you have your RCA, your single pin, and then like there's the XLR, which has like the 2 pins in the ground, and like digital, there's kind of the same thing, but it is a digital connection, that XLR connection. And I've never had to use that, man. I don't know anything about it.
Oh, maybe people will help us out in the comments on this one, because I also have never used
connection. Is it like, it's grounded? Because that's kind of a thing. Like with USB, there's USB grounds. You can get some noise there. I don't know. Maybe someone could tell me. I don't know if it's like some big fancy pro crazy multi-channel high res thing, or if
somebody's going to know.
The XLR version of coax. I don't know, and I should know that. This is why I say I'm not necessarily the DAC master.
You are the DAC master. I've seen this come up on different components recently, and I probably would do. I'm more like probably the coaxial.
Most people it's coax optical. I mean, USB is great if you can use it, but that's mainly if you got a computer. But coax is my second favorite.
Well, so this one actually,
Spencer told me what it was once.
Oh, yeah. See, if we had Spencer on this episode, he would be able to tell us what it is, because he definitely knows what it does.
And I feel like he was like, dude, it's this. And I was like, whoa, but I don't remember what it was.
The interesting thing is in this is it says it does USB up to 96, but optical coaxial to 192. So why is that? Like, how does that work? Wouldn't USB usually be a higher rate?
Well, Yeah, maybe that is a limitation there. It's not really for me because I don't really do the upsampling, and you know that's as high as you're gonna go. I mean, I guess there are some like 192s on streaming services.
Oh, so the highest you're typically going to do is 96.
I've seen it go that a little higher than that, but the thing with oh, it's that's USB, the hard drive disk. So like the CD player does this. You can actually hook up a hard drive and play files.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's
that's
fun.
only, whereas like here the PC USB that goes up to 768. I mean that's and DST 512. That's like you got your PC, you're running up scaling, up sampling software, and you're going crazy.
I'm trying to get into this world of all these sample rates, but my mind, I try to keep up with as much as I can. And I've actually just been starting to use Cobuzz. Cobuzz is a new thing for me. I was always a Spotify guy, and everybody frowns on me, right? And you laugh, but like a lot of people that's what they use. They're used to the interface. I've been using Spotify for years. I'm just like, this is easy for me. I can find any music I want. And then I started using Cobuzz recently. And all the music that I want is also on there. It's a new system that I'm trying to learn. And it does the high res files, and I couldn't tell you what all the bit rates are, and it's just not my thing. But besides the fact that it sounds good and it's high res, the thing that I've noticed with Cobuzz is it refers me to new artists and new music that Spotify doesn't do. It's just like you're getting the same tracks, just in a different order on every playlist. But when I go to Cobuzz, it's actually curated differently, and I found out why.
Why's that?
So, yeah, right. So they actually have people in each country that curates these by hand. Like these are not AI curated playlists. So like if you look up like pop rock, right, or if you look up jazz or whatever it is that you're looking up, it's a playlist of however many songs that's curated on like a weekly basis by a person who does nothing but listen to music. And so they know all these new artists, and there's people in every country that Cobuzz is in that compiles these. So like if you're into like Latin music or something, there's some guy in a Latin music prominent country that's listening to this kind of stuff. Who'll be like, did you hear about this artist and this artist? So I've been like, it's very fascinating to see all the new artists that come up if I just type in a genre of music, because it's not like that with Spotify. They're just like, here's what you're going to like, and it's everything you've been listening to. Like I even got to the point with Spotify where I just started using the DJ.
Yeah.
We listened to the AI DJ on the way back
was kind
from
of fun. Yeah. The voice comes in between songs, and it's
like, you listen to this in 2023, you may like these songs that are similar, or maybe you're in a mood for relaxation. We're going to try this music, and it'll suggest some new stuff. But it's only a couple songs at a time. Then it goes right back to the tracks you listen to. And not that there's really anything wrong with that, but I just thought it was very interesting that when I would go to a certain genre, I might know 5 or 10 of the artists on the playlist, but everything else is new, and it suggests that. And I just thought, going off on a Cobuzz rant.
No, that's my pro tip for Cobuzz is the search bar. If you can just type in like what kind of music, like I'll just look up like deep, grimy dubstep, and there's just like playlists that there's a bunch. I guess like users can make playlists and they're online, and they do official ones, but there's tons, and I don't know, I've used a ton of start artist radio on all sorts of services, and those are all cool, and others they'll like kind of create playlists like you were saying, but the curated playlists, I just think you're getting better quality music. Like I'm constantly finding stuff where it's like, this is so good, and you feel like you're going to lose that because they don't necessarily have like just that, all those AI playlist generation features. But honestly, what they're doing is way better.
Oh, it is. So I did a podcast with David Solomon from Cobuzz, and I learned all about this, how they're for the artist, and it's just, it was wild. And that was after I started using it. And so that was a really exciting time.
But don't just look up tracks and artists and albums. Like, just throw in description words of the music that you like.
Oh, in the search bar, you can just put a description?
Yeah. And it'll just playlists that fit that. And you're just listening to a ton of music that's exactly what you want.
Dude, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start just hitting descriptive adjectives and words and just
like describe the guitar that you want to listen to or whatever, and it's all there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So back to the Audiolab. So the D9, what it also does, it's a headphone amp, right?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like that different form factor. I mean, it does kind of open it up. Like it's a little, if you're building like a hi-fi system, like you got a rack or whatever, there's always going to be lots of people have little like VU meters and things like that. And you can just fit in that way. But it also, if you're just at a desk, it's a great piece. If you want to do a headphone stack or just hook it up USB to your computer and just run your speakers and headphones and that's it. It's that makes a ton of sense.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the headphones for me. I got the Audio Technicas on. I love these.
So do I.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Not as fancy as yours.
I just, I have the HiFi ones. I'm not using the studio ones. That's just, I like the wood look of these, the 900s. So.
I got these in college. I got these probably like 10 years ago.
Really? And they're still holding up?
Yeah, I don't use headphones a lot. That's why.
Okay. I only use them for this. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to headphones that often.
But they're built great though.
I mean, they lasted 10 years, so that's always a positive.
No, they are like new.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the D9's the flagship, $1,500, and then you go down and you have the D7.
Yeah.
So this is a more affordable option.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the price right in front of me, but I want to say it's maybe $700, like $699, and I could be totally wrong. But tell me kind of what the difference is between the two.
Well, I mean, looking at it, it is, well, it doesn't have the 9038 Pro. It has the Q2M, which is just a slightly lesser performing chip. I mean, it's not quite as low on the noise floor, but the fact that you are getting up to a 38, I mean, it's nonetheless, it's not like they're going backwards in like older chips. They're using, a newer one. It's just not quite the performance of the Pro.
And it has a different screen. So I'm actually going to pull it up. I did pull up the pricing.
Yeah, the actual look of it is very, very different. It looks like a lot of
the 7000 series, right?
Yeah. And it I don't know. It still just like kind of has its own look a little bit, but I guess the 9000 series has its own look. So it's in line with. It looks great with the 7000.
It kind of looks like an upgraded version of the MDAC, which was one of their most
more like the MDAC. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Little different format on the back. It doesn't have that cable that we don't exactly know what it does. It doesn't have the colored screen, but it has a nice. Those screens on the 7000s are real nice.
Looks like it. No, it has the digital outs, and to be honest, a lot of these specs are like the capability of it is very similar. I don't know about.
It has a DC in, right? So it doesn't have it's got a different power supply.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's really that's huge. Power supply is big. And that's kind of like what the main differences are going to be. I mean, it's not a huge difference in specs, it's just the quality of the engineering and the implementation of the chips and all that.
Yeah, it still has XLR outputs. Okay, and I did confirm $699, right?
Oh,
so at least as of now.
I mean, that's really how pricing goes. I thought it was going to be like 100 or 2 above that.
Yeah. So right in line price wise. And they both come in silver and black. And it still does headphones. Right. So really, I think what they were pushing with this is that they wanted to kind of it's really the new model of the MDAC. I want to say
well, the MDAC was a nice DAC.
Right. I mean, so that's what I'm looking at, a picture of like all the awards that the MDAC won, and compact, affordable, high-end performance is kind of the moniker for it. So
I feel like the D9 is more of an MDAC plus replacement, where that the later model of the MDAC, but this is kind of more, they just kind of get that DNA and that performance into a much more affordable package, which this does make sense for a lot of people that are just, gaming, things like that, just have a PC set up. Like I have my audio interfaces, because I did the music, like they need like inputs, you know what I mean? But if you're just doing outputs and playback and movies, games, productivity, this does make a lot of sense.
I
Music,
thought about
obviously.
putting a DAC into my gaming setup.
Oh, you should.
Right, because my gaming headphones broke. So the problem is I want a mic, right? So then it's a whole thing.
Yeah, then you need you need an interface.
Yeah, but I was like, well, what can I do? And my headphones broke, the mic broke, so I can't talk on the gaming right now because I haven't found another one. So now I'm picky. I'm like, which head? I want them to sound good. I want them to sound all hi-fi. And I found like there was like a gaming headset that had a DAC, but it was like it was like $300 or $400, and I'm like, I don't even know how this is going to sound. They say it's hi-fi, but they're gaming guys. I don't know if they actually have hi-fi headphones. And I'm looking. I'm like, this one has like a DAC. But I'm sure it was not of the level that I'm used to, so I'm just very cautious. I'm like, I'm probably just going to get something that just works to talk on. But I was like, what if I hooked up something like this, something like the D7 into the system and figured out another way to hook a mic and actually had like true like hi-fi gaming? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a huge thing for sure. I mean, especially with Audiolab, it's so clean. You can use it in all these different scenarios. But yeah, I mean, I was a big gamer, especially during the pandemic, and it's like, you can hear all the different footsteps and pinpoint everything, and yeah, I mean, it makes a big difference.
I play a lot of games with the sound off.
I do too.
It's just awful for the hi-fi guy to be like, I play with no sound.
Yeah.
But like, I'll play Fortnite, right? And I'll get it where you can like see the visuals for where people are at for people that are deaf. And that's how I play the game.
You do like accessibility stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I play like with no volume. I'll play and it'll show the footstep thing, like somebody is over here, right? So that's how I got to judge where they're at instead of hearing the footsteps. Just because there's other things going around, on in the house that I have to hear. And like I used to play with like one headphone off so that I could hear the house. And I'm like, So when I do wear the headset, usually it's only one channel. Honestly, I just have to hear what's going on.
I've not used, I just do the Xbox on the TV. I don't do anything competitive, but I'll like just play completely silent. That Oblivion game came out, and the audio is so good. I have to like force myself to turn it up, but it's hard just so I can like not even turn it up, just like hear it.
How far did you get into that?
I got out of the sewer.
Oh, okay. I didn't even make it out of the sewer.
Yeah.
I actually dozed off. It was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So really cool stuff from Audiolab. If you're looking to put a DAC into your system, this is a great option for 2 different price points. Both very affordable.
I was the D7, like a lot of people that what they're buying now, like this for a few $100s more. I mean, you can get something way, way higher quality and kind of bridge that gap and put it in a nice hi-fi system and do all that. Like the 7000 CDT is a killer CD transport. It really gives you a ton of sound. And it's a really good price point and a good line. The D9 though, really good, but D7 makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, I mean, you get the whole 9000 system behind you. So I'm hoping we'll get a D9. They didn't, I think there was only the one at the show that they had at this time. I don't know that they've actually, again, I don't think they're shipping at this when we release this. I don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah,
it is coming out. If you have DAC questions, we do recommend that you call us. Especially Tom. Tom will walk you through what DAC makes sense in your system and all that. But there's something else that we need to talk about today. It wasn't the headliner, but it's really cool. And it's Cambridge Audio.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they just released an update to their Stream Magic app. And they introduced a 7-band EQ.
Mm-hmm. So
Cambridge introduced a 7-band EQ to this app. This app just keeps getting updates and updates and updates and updates.
Yes, and it's they do such a good job with getting you a really good sound, and everything is just simple. You know what I mean? Like there are other streamers that are really great that I love because you can do all this stuff with, but the Stream Magic and the EXN 100, I mean, it's great for anybody, but I've got some customers that didn't grow up with all the digital stuff, and some of that gets a little too tricky, and there's a lot of time on the phone. And this system just is plug and play, and in terms of internet radio and everything that you can do now, it's great. But this is just like an extra feature that I think people get a lot out of it, because people do really like playing with EQs, and they're so rare now.
There barely anything has a 7-band, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eversolo had the band EQ.
Yeah, they had a bunch. There's a bunch of bands in I mean, they have the parametric, and I guess this is technically what that is, but I think 7's all you need. I'd be fine with 3.
Yeah, and you can use it as a preamp, so that puts an EQ in a preamp. They updated last year with the meters, so you got meters.
That's right.
You got the EQ bands, and it's a lot of good stuff that they put in. They also introduced, I'm just reading kind of the update here, they introduced the Amazon Music Library directly into the app.
Yeah, someone gave me the heads up about that at Expona. So you can, I think you can, Amazon Music is integrated in it, and I don't know if that's in a lot of other streamers.
Yeah, and what's interesting about Amazon Music is everybody has it.
That's the thing.
And nobody really, it's still not like a top thing yet, but everybody's got Prime. And I'm pretty sure it's just included with Prime. You get Amazon Music.
Mm-hmm. And they have high res. They do have,
They do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did use it once or twice in the last year. Again, new interface. It's hard to change streaming music apps because of the interfaces. So, but the whole line has it: the Evo 75, the Evo 150, the Evo 1, the AXN 10, MXN 10, CXM 100, EXM 100. EXM 100 has been very popular. That's one that I just absolutely love. And and before that, it was the CXN. Before the EXN came out, I was like, the CXN is like such a good streamer. And then they released the EXN. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the train, like just looking at the inside of the XM100 for, I mean, what, and the price, I mean, it's still like $1,800, isn't it? Isn't that thing?
At this time, it is. I mean,
yes.
Pricing is right now. Pricing is difficult to quote. Any of the prices can change at any time. But yeah,
it's they borrowed a lot of the stuff from the Edge series, which is a very nice line, and it's like less than half the price.
Yeah, so it's really cool that any of the Gen 4 streaming products can have this update. So it kind of, it's not just like something that's not out yet or a new product. You just get the update. So it just adds a feature to it. And I love Cambridge Audio for that they just keep updating. And a lot of these companies do this. I mean, there's a lot of good streaming apps out there right now. So I just thought that was an important update to share with everybody.
Yeah, we got a lot of people watching that probably have their streamers, and I'm sure they'd like to know that they have an EQ now.
Right? It's fun. You just, you didn't know? Yeah, you got one. And if you're looking for a streamer with one, that is absolutely a great option. But that covers everything we were going to talk about today. I had a good time. It was fun hanging out, learning about new stuff. So this is all new stuff that we're trying to talk about. So if we don't sound completely educated on it, it's because it just got released and we probably don't have our hands on it yet, right?
No, it's kind of coming in hot, but just kind of looking over some stuff and getting the word out, and I'm sure we'll have more conversations about it. I was worried I was about to get kicked out though, because I just got hit with a crazy thunderstorm outside.
Oh, it came through here earlier.
Oh, dude, I was like, it sounds like
your power likes to go out too.
It does. Like, it's probably going to go out as soon as we finish this podcast.
Yeah. So if if you're looking to build a hi-fi system, we would love to help you. So go to alleliteaudio.com. Check us out. We have some cool news coming soon about All Elite Audio, but we'll keep it hush hush for now. And we will see you guys next time.